Hi there, and welcome to an introduction to imperialism with Mr. Eressy. Why do the majority of people living in South America practice Catholicism? Why are European languages so common on the African continent? Why do we eat banh mi's on baguettes? Why are places like Puerto Rico and Guam part of the United States, and why can't they vote in our elections? And why do we learn history from a predominantly white European perspective? The answers to these questions and more lie in understanding imperialism. Throughout this video, we will define imperialism and its motives to begin to understand how it has and continues to impact our global history. Imperialism is the expansion of a nation's control over other nations through takeovers, whether those takeovers be takeovers of their land, takeovers of their economy, takeovers of their politics, or takeovers of their culture. What are the motives for this? One of the most obvious is economics. After the Industrial Revolution, production was at an all-time high, and nations needed raw materials and cheap labor, so they would invade other nations in search of these things. One example of this is the Belgian takeover of the Congo. Using the excuse of research and civilization of the people of the Congo, King Leopold of Belgium claimed the Congo. Leopold's true purpose was to extract natural resources such as rubber and to exploit the Congolese people for labor. The Belgians treated the Congolese brutally, leading to between 1 and 15 million Congolese deaths. One infamous example of the brutality of the Belgians in the Congo was that if the Congolese were not working fast enough, they would have a hand sliced off as punishment. Needing to civilize natives was not a phenomenon that occurred strictly on the African continent. In Latin America, the Spanish conquistadors used the encomienda system to exploit indigenous peoples for labor in exchange for quote-unquote re-education and the gift of Catholicism. Not only did this lead to a rigid racial hierarchy in the Americas, it led to a loss of both indigenous culture and lives, with an estimated 8 million indigenous people losing their lives due to the war, disease, and exploitation the Spanish brought with them to the Americas in their search for gold and spices. Power was also a major motivator for imperialism, and nowhere was this more evident than at the Berlin Conference, where European powers claimed different parts of Africa for themselves in a race to build empires that would eventually be one of the main causes of World War I. World War I wasn't the only world war spurred on by a competition for empires, as the Japanese quest to conquer Asia and the Pacific brought the United States into World War II when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Meanwhile, in Europe, Nazi Germany's expansion into Eastern Europe is what drew Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union into the war. Remnants of the imperialism of old remain today, with the United States holding control of territories near and far as a result of global conflicts, such as the Spanish-American War, when they claimed Puerto Rico as a prize after their defeat of Spain. Furthermore, cultural imperialism involves the use of culture to influence nation-states near and far. The consequences of imperialism are far and wide-reaching, and this video is just an introduction to what it is